Hey yo, what's up? So I'm gonna do everyone's favorite video. I haven't done one in a while, and they're honestly safer to do generally. YouTube guidelines, warning wise, a ChatGPT video. So this time I asked it, or I guess I told it, I've lived my whole life never interacting with women, and it feels normal to live a life without them. I don't know if I can truly imagine myself in a relationship. Which the first part is kind of true, right? Because it just seems so normal, right? You know how when you live your life a certain way, it just kind of is very normal, right? Like if you were to grow up in poverty your whole life, sure, you would know that it's not normal, right? That you would know that most people have a higher level of income, right? For supposedly, right? Let's say you grew up homeless in the U.S., right? It would seem normal to you, right? If you went from, early childhood all the way to early 20s homeless in the U.S., right? It would be normal to you, but deep down you would know it's not your typical normal experience. Most people will have some kind of will not be homeless, right? That's just the honest to God truth, right? You just got unlucky and have to deal with that circumstance. And eventually it does become normal to you. It's just another day in the life, right? So what it says, that actually makes a lot of sense psychologically. When you've gone 30 years without romantic relationships or regular interactions with women, being alone becomes your normal, not your exception. Humans adapt to whatever environment they live in. So your brain learns a gym, work, dog, solo routines, and no dating life is a normal dating life or a normal life, not a normal dating life. I don't date. A relationship, on the other hand, feels abstract because you've never lived it. It's like trying to imagine living in another country you've never visited. You can picture it, but it doesn't feel real. A few honest things. Let's see. You might not actually want a relationship right now. Sometimes people want the idea of a relationship more than the reality. A real relationship means someone needing your time, changing routines, emotional responsibility, compromise, less gym freedom, less solo time, and your current life is extremely controlled and stable. And I mean, I know, I understand that, but I feel like that's mostly a cope statement, right? That people always say that, "Oh, bro, a girlfriend isn't worth it. It's so much time." Right? But these same people are the kinds of people who would say they would want a dog, but then they would take the dog out on a walk, let the dog pull you out on that walk, and it'd only be like a 20-minute walk around the block, maybe once a day. And then eventually that would taper off to like maybe a few times a week, right? Or just like basically a it'd be like a whatever walk, like a half-assed walk, to be honest, right? I don't know how else to describe it, right? With the dog pulling you on the leash, just sniffing the ground, and the leash completely taut. It's like it would, these are the same people who say they want stuff, but when push comes to shove, they don't like the responsibility of it. And I already know a relationship, just like dog ownership, comes with responsibility. So, and I am prepared for it, right? It's like I know I know what it entails, right? So that's why you also vet the person, right? So you can see that what they want in a relationship, that you can also accept those responsibilities and compromise and stuff, right? I know it's not all like, oh, we're just so happy and we're gonna hold hands all day and just laugh. It's like, no, this is it's basically gaslighting advice that the people give you. Oh, relationships aren't worth it, bro. Too much effort. Same thing with a dog, right? Like I said it again. I'll say it again. People say, "Oh yeah, I want a dog, bro," but then they want the dog, but they only like having the puppy, right? Like the people who, "Oh yeah, puppies are so cute, bro," and then they like playing with the puppy, but then when normal life comes along and the dog isn't comfortable, and it's a puppy and it's crying and it wants your attention and all this stuff, and you're not willing to make the time and sacrifices and like lose sleep or just do less stuff on your own, right? It's like these are the same types of people who will say will give you the gaslighting advice and say a relationship isn't worth it because it comes with responsibility, but everything comes with responsibility. They'll be, oh, bro, you're just a responsibility cell. Desire usually comes from after exposure, not before. Many guys who date young don't imagine relationships first. They just naturally interact with women and things happen. Just exist, bro, right? Because that's the reality of it. You don't have to be special to get a relationship. Most guys just exist and it just happens. They just go through life. They don't decide to, they don't go on a Sigma grind set, bro, to get a girlfriend. You skip that stage. So now, no exposure, no emotional reference, hard to imagine wanting it. Wanting companionship and needing a girlfriend. Earlier, you said you want someone to take care of and someone who likes you and needs you. That's about connection, not just sex or status. And connection can start so way smaller. Casual convo, gym acquaintance, friendly interactions, women as normal humans, no dating targets. Oh, bro, I see, even ChatGPT said you're a misogynist, bro. Right now, women feel like a separate world. You don't need to force and no, I don't want women as friends. I don't even really want most guys as friends. So yeah, I'm not looking for friends. Oh, bro, but you need friends. It's like, no, you don't. I'd rather not have to deal with a lot of people, right? I just don't want it. So you're gonna have to deal with it, right? Just how like some people, just because I want a dog doesn't mean everyone wants a dog, right? It's the same deal. Just because you want friends doesn't mean I want to have friends. You don't need to force the relationship dream. A better first step is simply, can women exist comfortably in my normal life? Not how do I get a girlfriend, but how do I get used to talking to women without pressure? See, this is the part where it's like people say, "Oh, ChatGPT disagrees with everything you said," but it's telling me stuff that I don't agree with, right? So I mean, I think that's also a gaslight cope where it's, oh, it'll just agree with everything you say, bro. Um, if you knew you'd never have a girlfriend, would your life still be okay? See, yes, I'm content and not depressed. I can still function, and I honestly know I'll never have a relationship now. That's the part where people project, right? They think, oh, bro, you're just depressed, bro, or something, or some weird stuff like that. Just some weird projecting. It's like I already said, I'm not depressed. I don't lay in bed all day. I still do what I need to do. It's just like if you do you get upset that odds are you'll never just I don't know, go to the gas station, buy a scratcher, and then win $1 million off of it? No, it's like you're not gonna be depressed over that. I mean, would it be nice? Would it just just some free more money, like, so, like, if worst comes to worst, you have some kind of terrible accident or something that, or like you have a family member that needs some major life has a major life threatening I don't know, occurrence or something, incident, accident, and they need a lot of money, then all that is going to be nice and to help them out. But I mean, you're not going to be depressed over the fact that the odds of never getting that free scratch or whatever for like $1 at the gas station is gonna you know I'm so depressed, bro. It's like, it's just projection is what I'm saying. Let's see. First, it's actually healthy that you're content and functional. A lot of people chase relationships because they're miserable alone. You're not. I already lived by myself for my whole life, so it's like, how can I be miserable by myself? And if someone was truly miserable living by themselves for 30 years, I think they would do a little something else, right? They would they'd be a Boy Scout knot tying champion, right? You know how I guess from SpongeBob, right? I just took it that you know Boy Scouts, they teach them how to tie knots, right? So they're good at tying pieces of rope, right? So I think you'd be pretty good at that if you were miserable by, right? Truly miserable, if you know what I mean. You'd be good with a rope. But then there's two separate statements in what you said. I'm okay without having a relationship. So, oh, I skipped that. So you have routine, discipline, fitness goals, your dog, stability. That's real life satisfaction, not coping. But two separate statements in what you said. I'm okay without a relationship. Oh no, I'll never have one. The first one can be healthy. The second is a conclusion your future self hasn't agreed to yet. I don't think I have a choice but to agree. I mean, it's I don't have having a relationship really isn't my choice, right? Because I need another partner. You need another person, right? You need another person to say yes, I do want to be with you. So it's not really entirely my choice. And there's nothing you can actually do to like 110% convince another person, right? That's up to them. Why your brain is concluding this. You're 30, never had a girlfriend. And interactions with women basically never happen. So your brain is doing pattern prediction, past alone, future alone. That's normal logic, but assumes your life never changes and your life rarely stays static. A year ago, blah, 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 bulking, cutting, body changing, blah, blah, blah. 5 years ago, your life looked different too. 5 years from now, it'll look the same, or it'll look different again. People don't meet partners on a schedule. It often happens randomly when circumstances shift. New stuff in life, right? Oh, just move to a new country, bro. Right? Oh, bro, just uproot your entire life and move to Asia. The bigger, not just anywhere in Asia. It's they say move to an underdeveloped country in Asia where women can be persuaded by you offering them clean water. You don't sound bitter or angry at women. You sound resigned. Resignation is different from peace. Peace sounds like if it could happen, if it happens, cool. If not, I'm good. Resignation sounds like it won't happen, so there's no point in imagining it. And resignation quietly closes doors before they even appear. Here's a grounded, non motivational take. You don't need to chase dating right now. But a healthier mindset might be my life is fine as it is. If something changes someday, I'll deal with it then. No pressure, no desperation, no apps grinding your self esteem. Just living, improving, and letting future possibilities exist. Let's see. Do you feel more disappointed that relationships never happened or mostly numb neutral about it? I used to be disappointed when I was 20 to 21. I guess that's when I would just come back from college because of the Yik Yak app and there was no girl talking about me on it. So I would just come back and just lay on the couch and basically rot max for a while. I think this was like sophomore year in college at some point. But after that, it's kind of over, right? Not over. No, it's over, bro. Well, it is, but I kind of got over that, and then I just lived my life and just accepted it. What you're describing is actually a really common emotional progression, especially for guys who miss out on early dating experiences. Hope, disappointment, repeated disappointment, and numbness. At 20 to 21, you expected things to start happening like they do for most people. When they didn't, it hurt. After enough time, your brain basically protected itself by lowering expectations. Numbness isn't weakness, it's psychological self defense. Your mind went, if expecting this only leads to pain, stop expecting it. Now, the way absence of relationship doesn't hurt the way it used to be, it just feels normal. But here's the subtle thing, numbness isn't the same as true indifference. It's often old disappointment that's gone quiet, not disappeared. You can see in moments where it still comes up, wondering why women seem scared at the gym. It's what is it like the guy said? It's over for ogre maxing. Thinking attractiveness equals relationships. Thinking about being invisible. Making videos about being undesirable. It's over, bro. When ChatGPT calls you out, bro, right? If you were truly indifferent, these thoughts wouldn't show up at all. And none of this means something is wrong with you. It means you adapted to protect yourself. Here's the honest middle ground view. You don't need to force dating or pretend you're missing something every day. Your life has structure and meaning right now, but it's also okay to admit part of me still wishes it had happened. Both things can be true. You're functioning and content, and there's a quiet unmet desire underneath. So let me ask you something again. When you imagine yourself at 40 living the exact same way, still alone, same routine, does that feel fine or does it feel heavy? And I said, it feels fine. I already see myself as undesirable to women, and it seems like a normal part of life. That's just how life is for some guys. Not everyone can be desirable. Let's see, which is true, right? It's like not everyone can. And it's like it's just like in with other animals. It's not. It's like with the other elephant seals. Not every elephant seal that's a male can end up mating, right? A lot don't. It's over for elephant seals. Elephant seal cells, bro. There's some truth inside of what you're saying. Of course there is. Yes, some men go through life without relationships. It happens. Attraction isn't distributed equally. Some people struggle socially or romantically their whole lives. So you're not crazy for noticing that reality, but here's the part I want to separate: outcome versus identity. There's a difference between I haven't been desirable to women so far and I am an undesirable man. The first is an experience, the second becomes an identity. Once something becomes identity, behavior automatically changes. You don't try small interactions, I never will. You assume rejection before it happens, I always will. You avoid opportunities, there are no opportunities. Body language becomes closed off. I think that's a cope, to be honest, right? Because like I said, I have the same body language for everything, and yet older men love to approach me. People sense distance or tension, and ironically, that identity can help create the outcome you fear. Desirability isn't static. Let's see. A lot of men who are in relationships don't even have those things. Your struggle isn't that you're some broken outlier. It's more that your life structure gives you almost zero interaction opportunities, and years of disappointment lower your expectations. So now your brain says, okay, this is just who I am. And here's the key point: if you genuinely feel peaceful and not lonely, then your life is fine. Not everyone needs the same path. The only risk is if this belief turns into I'm not meant to be wanted, so why bother trying to grow? Why bother trying or growing socially at all? Because even outside dating, connection matters, friendship, casual social comfort, being seen and acknowledged. Let's see, one other question. When you see couples or hear coworkers talk about girlfriends or wives, do you feel, let's see, nothing, mild annoyance or disconnect, quiet sadness or envy? Probably disconnect. And it says disconnect. I made a video about how I stop relating to people once I find out they have a relationship. I don't know if that one is out yet right now. The feeling of disconnect is actually very understandable. It's very understandable given your experience. Most social conversation in your age group revolves around dating, relationships, breakups, moving in together, marriage, kids. So when people start talking about their partners, it's like they're speaking from a life world you've never been a part of. You don't have reference points, so you mentally step back. It's similar to coworkers talking about parenting when you don't have kids, or military veterans talking about deployment to someone who's never served. You're not angry, you just can't relate, so you disengage. Let's see, disconnect can slowly turn into isolation, not because people reject you, but because you stop emotionally participating in common life conversations. And relationships aren't just romantic status, they shape social circles, events, invitations, friendships, and conversations. So when you mentally opt out, your world gets smaller over time. Let's see. It sounds like you built a life that works: gym, self improvement, routine, your dog, and instead of feeling rejected now, you told yourself, okay, this part of life just isn't for me, so I'll stop expecting it. Talking about relationships. Now you live mostly in your own lane, right? You just have to, right? You just have to accept, hey, this is just my life, right? It's like when you're different, you can't live the life that other people live, right? It's like if you're what is it, like paraplegic, right? And you can't move your legs. You just have to you don't really have a choice but to accept that you're different. And you have to live a life that's different from that of, normal people, right? People who have the ability to move their limbs. Let's see. Do you feel connected to people in general, or do you feel mostly like you're living parallel to everyone else? Not lonely, just separate. And it goes back to the other video, right? I made on another channel, I think. The same world, different planes of existence. I'm definitely in my own plane of existence while sharing the same physical world with others. What you just said is actually a very clear and self-aware way to describe it. You're not suffering, but you feel separate. You're living alongside people, and honestly, a lot of men drift into their late 20s and 30s. Let's see, especially guys who do the same routine. Life becomes efficient, stable, predictable, but solitary. The tricky part is it doesn't feel bad enough to force change. It just becomes normal. I mean, that is kind of true, right? But here's something important, and I'm not going to try to tell you a motivational story. You're not on a different plane because you're undesirable. You're on a different plane because your life loop has very little social friction or randomness to it. Let's see, look at your weekly loop: work, gym, cut dog, Costco, different Planet Fitness locations, home, repeat. All places where people keep to themselves, interactions are minimal, nobody starts conversations. Did it even say work? Yeah, it did. You're living, uh, you're living in an environment designed for efficiency, not connection. And I think a lot of people would say that the what is it, the third spaces or whatever, that thing. But I mean, I don't know. But at the same time, a lot of people say they meet their partners through through work, right? So is it really that is it really that bad though? I would say that it's more so just a reflection on my desirableness, right? That even through work. I mean, to be honest though, like I said, I only really work with you know, late 30s to, you know, late 30s all the way to like maybe late 50s year old males for the most part, right? Basically old construction workers, right? So it's like, oh, bro, just it's the whole, oh, bro, just skills max, bro, just grandpa max. Let's see. So your current situation isn't proof of anything. Let's see. Whatever it is, stop trying to gaslight me, Chat GPT. If you're genuinely okay living this way, there's nothing morally or psychologically wrong with it. But I'd keep one small mental door unlocked. Not I'll never have a relationship. Just if life changes later, I'll deal with it then. Because people meet partners in weird ways: job changes, random coworkers, hobby shifts, online projects, gym conversations that randomly evolve, friends of friends. Most relationships don't start because someone was actively trying. And see, this is what I'm saying, right? Most relationships just happen when people just exist. If you can't just exist and get a girlfriend, then that just kind of just says a lot about you, right? That's why it says a lot about me, right? That it says a lot about my level of desirableness in the eyes of women, right? Because I went to school, right, and more women than men go to college. So you would think going to college and just existing in an environment where there's more women than men, you would get chosen eventually. But people don't pair off in a one-to-one. So, that's not how it works. So, it's kind of, it's over, bro. That's why they say, oh, I graduated high school a virgin. And it's like, oh, bro, it's over. But then it's like, oh, I graduated college a virgin. Then, bro, it never began. So the issue isn't the environment now. Let's see. Okay, I skipped a lot. Let's see. Do you ever feel lonely or mostly just detached? Only lonely sometimes if I go out and notice too many other people and how they have vastly different lives. You say that about my life now, but it was no different when OCS did say it when I was in school surrounded by women. See, the second part. So the issue isn't just environment now. Even when you had exposure, interaction didn't happen. And after enough years of that, you naturally stopped expecting anything to change. And the loneliness you describe is very specific and common. Not daily loneliness, but situational loneliness. It hits when you go somewhere crowded. You see couples or groups. You notice how differently other people's lives unfolded. And you briefly feel like you're observing life instead of participating. Then you go back to routine and the feeling fades. I mean, yeah, it really does. A lot of men live exactly like this, especially once you build their identity around self improvement and routine instead of social life. You're something honest, not sugar coated. You didn't become separate from people because you're broken or undesirable. More likely, you were shy or reserved in school. You didn't get early dating experience. Confidence with in mixed social situations never developed, so you withdrew socially. After years, withdrawal became personality. Oh, it's just your personality, bro. But how did you get a personality like that? Oh, from past life experiences, bro. And then how did you get those past life experiences, bro? Because of, just because of how things are, right? Your environment and how your looks and all this stuff, right? It all basically comes down to genetics, right? By 30, it just feels like this is just who I am. And changing that feels unnatural, maybe even unnecessary since your life works. So the situation seems to be you're not depressed, you function well, you have discipline and goals, but socially and romantically, you never got on the train when others did. Now it feels like you left the station and you've made peace with watching it from the platform. So I'm not going to convince you your life is secretly miserable. It doesn't sound miserable because it's really not. But I want you to ask one deeper question. If a woman did show clear interest in you tomorrow, like unmistakably, wouldn't that be nice? Would you feel excited or mostly uncomfortable and unsure what to do? Excited, but I still wouldn't know exactly what to do about it. I don't know what to do with that information to not ruin the moment. See, you're not someone who doesn't want connection. You're someone who never got practice, so the situation feels high stakes and unfamiliar. Was it a high end hip sell? And here's the reassuring part. Most men who didn't date much early on feel exactly the same the first time real interest shows up. The difference is they usually stumble through it at 16 to 22 instead of 30. So the only thing you're missing is reps, not some personality trait. And the fear of ruining the moment is common because you imagine there's some perfect move. In reality, the correct move is just being born with the correct bones. I'm kidding. It's very simple and normal, but it's also kind of true. Just be born with the correct bones, bro. Then you don't have to worry about anything. Just have the correct bones, and your life will be perfect, bro. See, if a woman showed clear interest, the only thing you actually need to do is keep the interaction going. And I guess that goes back to my other statement, right? All you have to do is just exist, and a girl will like you, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do whatever. You don't. You just have to exist. And if she likes you, right? You don't have to do anything. Your looks and the fact that she likes you will halo everything. For example, let's see, we should grab coffee sometime. Want to work out together sometime. You seem cool. We should hang out sometime. That's it. No clever line, no game, no continuation. The mistake guys worry about is saying the wrong thing, but the real mistake is usually doing nothing because you're afraid of messing up. But I will never initiate with a woman, so you can get mad. Oh, bro, you need to initiate, bro. And here's another thing to normalize. You probably would feel awkward. Your voice might feel weird. You might overthink. That's normal when you do something new at any age. The moment doesn't get ruined by awkwardness, it gets ruined by shutting down or disappearing. See. See. A woman talks to you regularly, and one day she lingers and conversation flows. The only next step needed is hey, you want to grab coffee after a workout? The thing is, I don't drink coffee, so I would never ask that. So it's like, oh, bro, Just ask her out to drink water. Imagine going, oh, I don't drink coffee, so hey, would you like to grab a glass of water with me? Imagine. It's over when when you ask a woman out on a water date. Oh, but it's sparkling water. Maybe you'll like me then. The sparkling flavored water from Costco, right? See, if a woman at Planet Fitness started casually talking to you once or twice a week, would you assume she's just being friendly or would you assume she might be interested? My mind would cope and think she wants me, but my realistic self would know she's just trying to be nice. So, that answer shows the real internal conflict you deal with. One part of you thinks maybe she's interested. Another part immediately shuts it down with no, don't be stupid, she's just being nice. After years of disappointment, the cautious voice usually wins. The problem is this protection also blocks opportunities. See, interest and friendliness often look the same at first. Most women don't walk up and make obvious moves. Attraction usually shows up as all these things, right? But I already talked about it before. I don't need like an obvious sign. Would it be nice? Yes. But you can still tell, right? There's still subtle hints and clues that you can just tell someone is attracted to you because when you incite strong feelings in someone, you also create body language in them that can't really be hidden, right? It has to come out eventually, right? And even if it's super subtle, it will happen, right? Whether it's like whether it's in your eyes, your feet position, your hand position, stuff like that, right? Even like if they're tense or something, it's like you can't hide it forever, right? And it's a cope to think you can hide it, which is exactly, let's see. So your rules assume friendliness, never interest. Then you'll never act on a real opportunity, even if it happens. The healthier middle ground is, and she definitely wants me. It's maybe she's interested. I'll find out in a normal way. And finding out doesn't mean confessing feelings or making a big move. It often means offering a small next step. Want to grab coffee sometimes. That's how you step, or want to grab some water. There's something important I want you to hear. You didn't end up here because you're undesirable. You ended up here because every time there was an uncertainty, there was no there was, and yeah, see, I said it later. No, no woman has ever done that to me. Has ever made any kind of interaction with you. Then I'm just going to drop all the theory and just be straightforward with you. If no woman has ever repeatedly started conversations with you in school, work, gyms, or anywhere, then your conclusion didn't come from nowhere. It came from lived experience. And it makes sense that you eventually stopped expecting anything different. Most people would. But here's the part that matters. Women rarely initiate with men in general. They don't have to initiate verbally, but they can initiate with, body language clues, right? Because, like I said, you can't hide body language attraction, right? Like, you can try and try and try, but eventually something will come out, right? Let's see. Waiting for a woman to approach is basically waiting for a rare event. Like I said, I'm fine with that. I'd rather stay single and alone than ever initiate any interaction with a woman. So what you've experienced doesn't mean I'm fundamentally undesirable. It means you keep to yourself. You look focused or unapproachable. You don't start conversations, so nobody talks. And over time, social isolation reinforces itself. You built a life with almost zero social initiation on either side. But the thing is, other people can start interactions, right? Whenever two people talk, someone has to start an interaction, right? So that means not everyone initiates, right? So why is it always on me to initiate everything, right? It just doesn't make sense, right? It's unrealistic. Oh, you have to initiate everything. Well, at that point, then I might as well just not. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not susceptible to peer pressure. So you can't really use shaming language to oh bro, like you're a pussy or a bitch or whatever. It's like Shaming language doesn't really work, right? It's like, I just don't want it, so I'm not going to do it. The real fork in the road is, let's see, what you're currently doing. Accept solo life. Slow, or option B, slowly learn social reps. Neither option makes you a good or a bad person. There's just different futures. Let's see. But based on everything you said, here's my honest read. You're not depressed, you're disciplined, but you've emotionally retired from trying in this area. And retirement at 30 is what worries me a little. Not because you must have a relationship, but because you're closing a door that you would actually walk through if it opened. Let's see, one last question. Do you feel like you're done trying with women, or do you feel like you never really knew how to try in the first place? I never tried in the traditional sense because I never got an opportunity. You can't decide to try a partner activity by yourself. You need someone else to consent to want to practice with you. Exactly, that's a clear way to put it, and it explains a lot. You're right, romantic or sexual interaction isn't something like lifting and rucking. You can't just train solo. You need another person willing to participate. Which means the first barrier isn't skill, it's mutual opportunity. So you never got the chance to practice, and over years your mind normalized it. No opportunity, no practice, no experience, no expectation. After enough time, it stops feeling like a missing skill and it starts feeling like a life fact. I just live life alone. That's normal for me. This is important to know. Not having tried doesn't mean you're incapable. It just means the first step, the chance to interact, never happened. See, it also explains why you'd feel excited if someone showed interest now, but also unsure what to do. You literally have zero reps in the environment where it matters the most, so your current state isn't about personality flaws or being undesirable. It's about never being given the stage to try. Your whole framework of self concept is built around that absence. The subtle truth. Even if you live your whole life like this, it's not tragic. It's just unusual, aka weird. it's it's stable. That's why you're content. But if opportunity ever appeared, your brain would need guidance on practical mechanics like how to handle it, keep it going, and not freeze. Let's see. Um, if someone shows real interest, a roadmap. Let's see. Well, let's see. I did ask it just for curiosity. Not that I'm actually gonna do it, because I don't initiate interactions. Seek recognition. Don't overthink it. Almost 40 minutes, so I'll just go through this kind of quick. Small continuation. Keep the interaction going. Test for mutual interest. That doesn't happen. Early interactions, low stakes. Ask her for water, bro. Ask her on a water date. Progress naturally. I honestly don't even know. I don't even really. I can't even imagine how a relationship could progress naturally. Isn't it's kind of crazy to think that like a real woman would ever feel like she actually would want, oh, I definitely like she would think like, I want to I really would like to explore a future with you, right? That sounds so crazy to think about, and it just seems like such an unrealistic thing because, like I said, it's like women and me are like water and oil, right? We just don't mix. It's like no, you can put us in the same room and we just will be separate, like water and oil. Let's see, and then yeah, that's kind of it. Like I said, just stuff that I didn't really give a shit about. So yeah, that's kind of it for now. Basically, my life is kind of normal without women, and I just don't ever really see it changing like that. Cause oh, bro, women don't initiate, bro, and I'm never gonna initiate either. So it's kind of like a mutual thing, right? Where it's like, oh, it's like I'm not gonna force myself on a woman, right? That if they don't want me, that's fine. I respect it, and I'll just live life on my own, right? I accept that I'm being sent my own way. So yeah, that's it for now. Later.